Hello folks, I will introduce the game Land of the Vikings in today's video. We will start with the game's overview before moving on to a more detailed analysis of how the game functions and what you're doing as a Jarl. Let's start with the summary. Land of the Vikings sees you as a lead your tribe in a very challenging years, with your villagers gathering resources from the nature side, constructing buildings and producing goods that are stored for later. When your population grows, you will have to build more of everything to keep it stable, such as resource, because the winters is the worst disaster in this game. You, as a leader, can build wherever you want and eventually construct building ships for exploration, trading and raiding. Let's go deep into the game. So in the beginning you will have to make a decision with a selection of maps to choose from, ranging from large to small resources, and those resources can be pretty far away from your village or nearby. Those are in effective difficulty settings. I did start with a disaster as my challenge, but it's up to you if you're willing to challenge yourself. So eventually disaster are the earthquakes or thunderstorms mix things up by destroying your building, and they are reasonably decent visual and audible spectacle too. So you eventually start as a Jarl and you will have to control your villages in the different jobs. You always started with a handful of key buildings and the game will automatically give you objectives to continue to develop their village. The tutorial is pretty bare bones, but the game will be quite easy to pick up, even if you're new to the game. Your job is to build up your population, which gives you more things to unlock the tech on the Tree of Life, Yggdrasil. Resource gathering begins with a root and they must be collected throughout the game. Trees will regrow until you build over the ground, so you will find yourself rotating between a few different forests to provide root at first. Later in years and days you will need to stay further and further to find more resources that you can build up for your population, as you have built over where those original forests once were. A depressing reflection how we're destroying our planet. But anyway, later you will be able to process the root into timber for buildings, and it's the same for stone to harvest, process and store these two basic resources, and builders will pick them up from the local warehouse as and when required. Villagers being default will be laborers, which means they will automatically collect wood and stone. But laborers do cover a few other jobs, such as turning wood into firewood to prepare for the harsh winter. Most other jobs require you to allocate a specific villagers to the role in each building. For example, if you have built a field and begun producing wheat, the farmers will plant it, harvest and store it in a local wheat storage. To turn that into bread, you will need to build a wine mill and allocate a couple of villagers to that mill. They will go collect the wheat, bring it back to the mill and turn it into bread. After that, a market worker will collect it and store the bread in a market until the villagers are ready to collect it and eat the bread at home. So you can actually track your villages if you're wondering what they are doing. However, it's not all the villages are the same. Each has a variety of trades and skills that better suits them for certain jobs. So if it was for the wine mill, you want the workers who are strong, so when you are allocating for that role, you can assure you available villagers by those who are the strongest and loyal. You had the best villagers for the job. So this is getting more complex as certain jobs require true skills, so finding the villages with healthy balance of the two will be best. Eventually you will have a team of builders, farmers, warehouse workers, carpenters, stonemasons, tailors, miners, shipbuilders and so many more. So if your villagers are too lazy, let them be lazy. They will probably chop some wood and to keep them warm for the harsh winter and probably die. Now you have started to understand a bit of the game, and now comes the biggest challenge in the game, winter. You will need to collect resources from the next winter, because you need to be able to make sure villagers are well and they are not getting sick. Villagers can get sick, pissed off or in general. Also make sure to get as many resources for the winter. For example, I have built 4 wheat storage for 60 villages, and meanwhile laborers preparing for the winter. The wine mill workers are making bread, and until winter is coming they're still making bread, because the farmers had collected wheat from the spring and summer in the wheat store, and it will be much easier to save the food for the winter. Meat is the main food source for villages to survive. but also a resource that keeps them warm, such as wood and coal. It is important that you are prepared for every winter disaster. I mean, I already told you in the beginning. Can you even imagine that it might happen which destroys a building or two at random? Honestly, they're kind of annoying, but they are cool to watch. And as a Norse expert, I can already say it draws upon Norse mythology, because Thor throws his hammer into the ground if he gets mad. The reason could be those giants made Thor angry. To avoid those disasters, you will have to give the gods a great sacrifice, by sacrifice a goat to appease the god, and your villagers will avoid getting future earthquakes from happening. Example. The Tree of Life is literally a technology place where you have opportunity to upgrade and unlock your way up of the tree. You will get fame if you complete your objective, keeping your villagers happy and growing your population. Some unlock are simply a boost to villagers' walking speed. Some unlock are simply a boost to villagers, for example a walking speed, but the bigger one we unlock is a building key, and therefore you can create new items. Roads and decoration are very important in this game. We have 6 different decoration, and they are fire, storage, roads, diamond, field and shield. The fire surrounds the village houses for light. Increase the storage space of some buildings, for example warehouses, then there's so much space for the upcoming resources. The road makes it easier for villagers to find direction and increase their walking speed. And some decoration also has some very specific rune stones, bench and much more that will make the village look richer. And if it stands next to the houses, it provides happiness. The field has a scarecrow that scares the crows away, so it can increase the yield of the field. And the last is increasing the defenses of the village. It will make the defenses a little bit higher. Trade. Trading comes a little bit later, when you have unlocked the dock in a Tree of Life. You build your first ship, Gnar. At this point you select a ship, select a bunch of sailors, which the game can auto-select for you. These sailors need supplies with them, and it's food for a long journey, and state which products you would like to buy or sell. And you gotta be careful, because the ship only takes 150 in weight, which can go over set maximum, restricting your choice. Your sailor also requires beers for happy, otherwise it's gonna be hell boring to sell in 4 days or more days, so why not? You have to make sure that goods sold and goods purchased are separated from each other, as they won't be on the same ship at the same time. But how to make more money? As an experience, I would like to mine iron and to get tons of iron so I could trade it for other things such as herbs, food, resources and so much more that is important for my village. And you actually get some visits from other ships where you can decide to buy some of what they have if you wish. Raiding or army. You have unlocked to train warriors. You will have the opportunity to start your own great heathen army and maybe sail to the west and maybe kill the Saxons, especially their king, Alfred the Great. If you have the right equipment and the villages available, you can train them and prepare for the battle when you reach your attack point. One thing is that you can send them out on the ship as raiding. You can actually see the strength of your raiding and the strength of the place you are looking to attack, and you can ask your rivals or other settlements to join the raid. But remember, you will have to share the treasure, and you can adjust the way they attack and see the impact that has on their chances of success. Villagers detail. Villagers does have different skills and relationships. Each village you can see who each village lives with, their partner and their children. Villagers die for a variety of reasons and they will need to be replaced at work when they do. You can even, if someone's husband or wife has died, which is a bit depressing, you can zoom in instantly to where each villager is, where they live and where they work. You can see their skills, strength, speed and in intelligence, as well as their age, level of happiness, what's making them angry, and many other details that add so much depth. Villagers aren't just faceless, they have a personality and a skill set that have an effect on your game and how you best make use of them. That's all I had explained to you. So if you like Vikings, then you should buy it. But if you also like Norse mythology, then you should buy it. But if you like some civilization, you can also buy this game. This game is absolutely fantastic. I can recommend you can play it on this. Before it takes 1 hour, then you will be absolutely excited to play this game. Absolutely to play an hour and an hour and an hour. You will just keep doing and keep doing. So that was all for my video for today. So I would just want to say thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.